There's something very similar, but at the same time, there's a very solid line drawn as far as the difference between a gold digger and maybe not high class. Well, definitely high class, but high standard.
Explain yourself.
Explain yourself. What do you mean? What are you trying to get at? Because a gold digger will basically like she'll sacrifice her sanity. You know, she'll suck some old guy's crusty like wrinkly shriveled dick.
Gross.
For the sake of just having money in her mom. Her money in
Jamaica mon.
Jamaica money. Just to have money in her account, you know what I mean? To them, it's just a business thing, you know?
Yeah.
They're basically just stacking up for when...
They decided to have their own.
For when Mr. Krusty withers away into the wind and is taken away into his poor, depressive grave. Basically, for when they die, when the husband or the boyfriend dies, they pocket all that coin, you know what I mean? They're really just doing as an investment or whatnot. But meanwhile, you got those higher class chicks, which is, they're stuck up for sure. But then again, in a sense, I don't blame them because a vast majority of them anyways, you know, those that are doctors or lawyers and, you know, got these fucking high ass paying jobs and all this shit. They won't settle for like a construction worker or, you know, some janitor or some, you know, laborer or whatever. And I know a few people like that, and I get it because they invested a lot of time and energy to get to where they at to put themselves in that high class, high ranking income level. You know what I mean? And they're not about to diminish the romantic portion of their life, you know, for anything less. Like they want someone that can, even if they can't equal them, that they can at least near them and you know, and keep their class high, you know what I mean? And I get that. I totally get that. Yeah, I'm totally gonna admit that I was there at some point. But for X amount of reasons, you know, I've had to tweak my personality, so I'm not as arrogant anymore, and that was just my own personal choice. But I totally get it. I can totally understand where someone would be coming from in that regard. But then it's hard to say for me, especially at this point in my life. I definitely have standards, but I can't see why somebody would, you know, go to bed with somebody that repulsive just to keep themselves, you know, financially wealthy or whatever you want to call it.
Well, it's a lifestyle they've chosen, right?
Sure. That's like...
So it's probably not as bad as how we think it is. It's probably they're just like, whatever. It's like going to a job you hate. You have to be there because you need those bills paid.
Sure.
But you just do it because...
Well, then those are gold brick chasers, aren't they?
How so?
You know, because you got the gold brick chasers. You know, they'll do a shit job, or they'll invest their life in a really shit job in order to make the big bucks, in order to go home to like a nice house and a warm bed and a fancy car or whatever. To them, that's life. So they'll sacrifice, you know, the miserable part of their day, like a miserable job, you know what I mean, for the big bucks in order to go home, you know. You know, they'll sacrifice one really shit third of their day, their entire day, to have a fairly decent, you know, other 2/3, you know what I mean? Because it's 8 hours, realistically, for most people, you know what I mean? You work for 8 hours, so if you're miserable for those 8 hours, well then hopefully the other 16 will be okay. That's the way I see it. Yeah. But then there's the people who, and I would like to think that I'm partially in this category where they rather chase the dream before the dollar, you know, where the dollar will come much later, but they rather sacrifice themselves, you know, the struggle of starting, you know, at a really shit place, but you know they're chasing their dream, and then later on, like they know that 24/7 they're going to be happy because A, they're going to be working in what they love, and then B, they go home to a family that appreciates them and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So it's give and take. It's whatever. But when it comes to the women marrying some crusty old bastard for the sake of being financially set, I'm not exactly sure. Like I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't have like a definite answer for that. Like I get it. I don't get the gold diggers because whatever, but I can understand wanting to stay in a certain.
But if you were a guy that had that money to give the gold diggers the money, you can't deny.
If I was a rich bastard, and I was old and whatever, then
come on,
and I had to buy my chick.
You can't deny.
Why not? Why
exactly.
not?
There you go.
But we're not talking about the old fuckers. We're talking about the chicks that are like. There's this old Facebook post where there's some I don't know who the guy is. It must be some billionaire or whatever. There's some old fart with an old hairy belly and so like a really wrinkled. He looked like Droopy. You remember the little Droopy dog, the old cartoon? He's like,
oh my god, yeah.
he looked like Droopy. Like his face looked like Droopy, but he had like a big fucking fat bastard belly with like whatever. And meanwhile, he's got his arm around like some Persian, bikini model's waist and whatever. And, the meme is that they're married. And one side of it reads, when he asks why he has to go to school, then you show him this picture. And then when she asks why she has to go to school, then you show her the picture. And it's basically saying that if you want to end up like the old dude, then go to school and make some big bucks and then you'll get a girlfriend like that. And then for the girl is, if you stop going to the school, you're going to end up like this poor chick having to fucking go to bed with this fucking,
I've seen that before, yeah.
And it's like, it's a really fine, put it like this, you put a really fine glass of wine next to a piece of gum that you dropped on the floor. That's what the picture looked like.
Pretty much, yeah. But I mean, why would you put the mentality on your kids too, right?
It's give or take. Like some people would think that to be lazy. Another sort of, there's another group of people that would consider that to be smart. It's just,
well, for the ones that do it, it's smart because they don't fucking deal with whatever, right?
Well, it's a matter of how you look at it. Because I would imagine to a gold digger, it's just a matter. It's like a business sense. You know what I mean?
I'm not that. I'm not.
No, I know you're not. Fuck. You're with me. Fuck that shit. I'm not old nor crusty nor rich. Like, holy shit. I guess all in all, I don't have like a real definite answer or opinion about it, but to each their own. I'm not about to condone. I'm just not.
Wait, but this is a different topic compared to where we left off.
What did we live off?
We left it off on whether you were willing to work your ass off to have your wife looking great and, keeping the house great, keeping your kids great, and she's looking like fine, or would you rather have a girl or a wife that's beside you, working her ass off and having to do, of course, all the things that every fucking woman does. Which, let's be realistic, there's not that many.
All there is, they're just not.
I know a few. Of course, I know a few. You know that.
So
they're home. Like that's great. Like if their husband could give them everything, but
you know what?
I don't know how. I honestly don't know. Maybe because I consider myself a very independent.
You know
person.
What? There's. It goes. It kind of goes both ways for me. Like to me, I'd prefer someone who's pretty independent. Hence, why I married you. I mean, I like your lifestyle and your mentality just as much as I like your appearance, obviously. But there are couples out there who I think it's just a mutual agreement that you're gonna stay home, and I don't even give a shit if you touch any of the maintenance of the house or whatever. But as long as you can keep up your appearance, like you keep, as long as when we go out and people say, man, that guy's really lucky that he has a nice house and a nice wife, I'm pretty sure that's all they care about. Mm-hmm. And if I was in that situation where I had a really lazy wife or whatever, then I can understand that concept because as long as she looked good, at least as long as she looked presentable,
yeah,
then I guess, because another thing would be that, if I had a wife that, didn't do shit at home, mm-hmm. and look like shit outside of home, then she's really not doing nothing for me, and I would quickly end that for sure. Yeah, but I don't know, like I said, to each their own. I'm not about to start condoning people.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder how the vampire guy would have liked his women. Listen, I know suck your blood, but you have to be dressed in red all the time. Okay. All the time.
How do you know that that's how the vampire man would sound like?
One, what, two, what, I don't know.
I don't know where that's coming from, but...
Count Dracula from Sesame Street?
No idea. But, But then it goes out the same way for the lazy fucks that don't.
Oh, yeah. The deadbeats. Deadbeats are fun. Deadbeats are, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, I did a discussion on that a couple days ago on deadbeats. Not on deadbeats particularly, but, the new generation that has a lot of those. And it's, to a degree, it's not really their fault, but there is something to be said about, staying in that mentality.
Yeah, it's really not really their fault. It's whoever, the idiot that they find that can do that for them. Yes.
I don't know.
It's the same thing. It's like the same thing. If I
okay, put it like this.
If I were to find some idiot that was paying, not an idiot, but like, honestly, yeah, an idiot. That was willing to give so much more, even though he didn't have or whatever, whatnot.
Yeah.
To pay for my shit.
Sure.
For everything.
Sure.
Who wouldn't take it?
Yeah.
Being realistically.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah. I don't know, because... And a lot of times it's just a matter of how they were taught. Because a deadbeat really doesn't start off as... It's not like he just... everybody's telling him to go find a job or whatever. Like, his parents are telling him, like... Buddy, go out, go to school, and go study to be something, or go
but then
whatever.
What if they were taught like that, but they're not like that?
Yeah, I know, because parents obviously they always have the responsibility of ambitioning their kids, but there's a lot of parents that verbally tell their kids to go be something, but there's another thing. It's a totally different thing for their parents to also be enabling them. You know what I mean? Like, they're subconsciously, helping their kid never leave the couch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they... I don't know. I've seen so many cases like that, though. I don't know. I'm not about to start condoning people, because it's not my place. And, I've been guilty of so many things myself. But, it's... I guess there's a lot of different angles to every single thing out there.
Have you had yourself a girl
that was taken care of?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I guess
I'm not gonna say names, but
you don't have to say names.
No. Yeah, it's just a matter of... I think she was always enabled as a young person, so that when the point of her life came in which people, by obligation had to start telling her no, she didn't take no as an answer. Okay. To her, she was, it's hard to word it, because I don't want to sound rude. I don't want to sound disrespectful either. It was definitely a very dear friend of mine for a long time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it's...
Well, so she wasn't your girlfriend?
She was for a bit.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Yeah, it was just a matter of, she didn't want to wake up to it, and it was just a matter of they tried to wake her up a little too late, and as much as the people around her that cared about her, tried to liven her up, get her woke, as some people say it, and it was just I don't know, it's just a matter of hopefully she'll wake up one of these days, she'll realize life is not all stars and butterflies, I don't know. I can tell.
What was your place like? How was your feeling? How did you felt about the fact that you had to, you were taking care of this person? We're talking about money.
Someone you're in a relationship with.
Someone that you would
give too much. What do you mean?
Not attention. Talking about money.
Right.
Like spending over of what you were supposed to because this person couldn't take care of themselves.
Right.
I'm not talking about needy.
Okay. I've had family members like that.
But so you never dated someone that you had to take care of like that?
Not in a financial sense. No, and only because I'm gonna go so far as to say I was a little too arrogant to put up with somebody like that. For the most part, I have been. You know, I've never given people a whole lot of tolerance and, fuck. You know all about that.
He gives it to me.
Oh, do I now? Go to your room. I'm kidding. Not tolerating this. Yeah, I don't know. I've had family members like that. But
it's different. It's family. It's not like somebody strange that eventually, you're probably not gonna end up with.
Well, strangely enough, the family member I'm talking about ended up ditching me at a really shit point in my life and ended up fucking me over quite a bit. Anyways, I confronted him eventually and, straightened things out or whatever. The good old big boy way, anyways. I should shut up. Yeah, it's weird. It's hard to say. Some people just never grow up, you know what I mean? And it's hard to say where that stems from, but it's a matter of, I don't know. We all hit responsibility at different times.
Yeah. I don't really like people like that. I live with a person like that.
Yeah.
I live with a person that I had to...
Mommy? You had to mommy them?
Literally mommy them because apparently living out there and drinking was a fucking huge deal that could not pay their own fucking bills and had to end up paying my bills. And I was making less fucking money than this person was making. We're talking about I'm making 13, this person's making almost fucking $20 an hour.
Right.
It's just like, what the actual fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Having to deal with it for a whole year, you're kind of like, oh my God. And even after. So
you were mommying them at $13 an hour, being able to handle your shit plus his shit.
Yeah.
That is incredible. $13 an hour.
Yeah,
You can't even... Nowadays, you can't even rent, a little den at $13 an hour.
No, you can't. I don't know how,
How old were you?
When I moved out?
No, when you were living with him, when you were going through all this.
Well, it was my first time moving out of my parents.
How old were you then?
So it was that was 3 years ago, so...
Don't say that. How old were you?
I don't know, 25?
25? Has it been 23 or 24?
24, yeah, 23, 24. Just, I don't understand, I really think with shit like that, you get red flags and you just don't fucking look at them. Just moving in within the first week.
Mm-hmm. Updating.
No, moving in, first week of moving in, to the place.
Yeah.
And I remember asking, so, let's go, grocery shopping, find out what the fuck. And then I'm being told there's zero money in the account to do.
You guys shared an account?
No, his own account. But this person just got fucking paid or something.
Yeah.
Of course, during the fucking weekend, party, drinking, this and that.
Right.
And I was like, what the actual fuck you mean? Now I'm going to have to go put my credit card to get food because God knows what the fuck you did with the money.
Oh, I know what he did with the... No, I'm kidding.
We all know.
Whatever.
But shit like that, it's just fucked up. How can you take advantage of people like that? I don't think I would be ever able to take advantage. Or the minute I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. So that's why I always say it. If people that get, I'm not trying to be a victim, but people that get fucked over is because they let shit like that happen themselves.
Right.
But there's also the people that can fucking literally sit there and take advantage of the fact that they know of how the other person is. So sometimes it's not even gold digger or like, you know.
But it is abusive, and I know because I've been on both ends of that shoe.
It's very abusive.
It's
what the fuck? It's like me seeing you, like, you know, like me knowing you have a amount of money and just
relying on it.
Just relying on your money.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was just people that never once came to the realization that they had to grow up. Never, you know, thought mommy was going to take care of them forever. And so they basically look for a girlfriend, not for girlfriend's sake, but for, you know, being mothered for X amount of time. And it's whatever. I mean, that's not what I do. That's not who I am, but to each their own. I mean, I would highly discourage that because there's going to come a point in time when nobody's going to want to tolerate that bullshit.
No. And then, you know, karma's going to hit you.
Oh,
karma's gonna bite you up the ass. You're going to end up with a fucking gold digger yourself. But then, I mean, at the end, you'll deserve it probably, so.
I don't know.
It's crazy. That's
karma's a totally discussion in and of itself, so.
Karma's a whole discussion. Do you believe in it? Do you not?
I do.
What's your point of view on that?
I think
karma has no deadline. Ever.
So
sit and relax and enjoy for now, and then it will fucking hit you. Oh, yes, it does.
Remind me to open up a discussion later on about karma, because...
Why can it be open in this
Because it's so open-ended, and this thing is taking on way too long already. I will say this, though. I think karma is an act more so than it's an active synergy.
What does that even mean? Holy shit, my husband uses big words. I don't know what the fuck he says sometimes.
Okay, kind of like the concept of luck, where, and I've talked about this before, where you create your own luck, basically, is the concept, you know? Like, to me, luck is the concept of opportunity meets preparedness. You know what I mean? So, to me, karma is something bad is going to happen to someone that did something bad, not because of coincidence, but basically there's... I think there is a higher power paying people for their good and bad deeds. You know, like if you bless someone, you're going to be blessed.
Yeah.
That's why the concept of paying it forward, like you saw earlier today, we were parking at the mall, and you know, some guy was waiting for the slot that we were gonna leave open, and some old hag came and like swooped in and like fucking, you know, basically bullied him out of the fucking thing.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, dude, that's a really fucked up thing. I basically am rewarding you for the bad shit that you just pulled. And he's like, I know, man, I'm sorry. And I told her, I was like, you know what, whatever, just pay my kindness forward, because I don't desire any harsh bad to anybody.
Yeah.
So the concept of paying it forward is just a matter of it all goes hand in hand with karma. I guess the short answer to that, since I've really dragged this out, I'm sorry about that, is I do believe in karma, but not in the same sense that everybody else does. You know, I believe my higher power. I believe that God rewards you for the good things you do, and at the same time he'll kick you in the dick for whatever bitch slap you give anybody else. You know, and that's my thought on it anyways. Yeah. But like I said, it's a never ending discussion with karma, so I'm totally gonna pick it up later.